Today, MicroStrategy announces another multi-million-dollar Bitcoin buying spree. Peer-to-peer crypto firm Paxful announces it's pausing operations. And Invest Diva CEO Kiana Danial breaks down what to expect from crypto markets amid the backdrop of a regulatory crackdown and ongoing banking uncertainty. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Digital currencies are mixed this morning after new economic data showed the U.S. job market is slowing, which raised hopes the Fed could finally shift economic policy. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin traded just above $28,000, Ether traded just under $1,900, and Solana traded at around $21. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. First, MicroStrategy is scooping up even more Bitcoin. The company disclosed in an SEC filing that between March 24th and April 4th, it bought around 1,000 Bitcoins at an average price of $28,000 each. That brings the purchase to about $24 million. The latest buying spree brings MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings to 140,000, which is worth a little less than $4.2 billion at today's prices. Of course, MicroStrategy has long been bullish on Bitcoin after the company's founder, Michael Saylor, made it his priority to load up the company's balance sheet with it. Shares of MicroStrategy fell 1.5% this morning after the announcement. Next, Paxful, the Africa-focused peer-to-peer marketplace, is suspending operations. In a blog post, the company's co-founder and CEO, Ray Youssef, blamed key staff departures and a changing regulatory landscape for the suspension. He also said the firm isn't sure if it will ever reopen. Despite this, Youssef assured customers that their funds are accounted for and can be withdrawn. Amid the suspension, Paxful's other co-founder is suing Youssef in Delaware courts, claiming the CEO tried to freeze him out of the company. Finally, today marks the deadline for crypto customers to pull their funds out of Signature Bank. Of course, the collapse of digital asset-friendly banks like Signature leave few TradFi options for crypto firms, and some exchanges are putting a pause on USD deposits until they can figure out their next move. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sigalos explains.
Wednesday is the FDIC's deadline for Signature Bank's crypto customers to pull out their collective $4 billion worth of deposits. But what's unclear is where all those clients will go for their banking needs. In March, two of the banks that were friendliest to the crypto sector and the biggest bank for tech startups all failed in less than a week. And since then, regulators have dialed up the pressure on banks servicing crypto companies, making it even more difficult for these digital asset firms to establish on and off ramps between U.S. dollars and cryptocurrencies. Binance US stopped most U.S. dollar deposit services, including Apple Pay, Google Pay, and ACH transfers, which were previously facilitated through Signature Bank. It was a similar story with Kraken, which suspended ACH deposits and withdrawals at the end of March after both Silvergate failed and Plaid was no longer an alternative for these transfers. It's become a common narrative for crypto exchanges here in the U.S. Now, there are still a few smaller U.S. banks, fintech platforms, and foreign banks filling the gap. The U.S. dollar-pegged stablecoin Tether, for example, is reportedly holding part of its U.S. dollar reserves in a bank in the Bahamas. Other offshore banks like Sygnum in Switzerland have seen more client interest in the last few weeks as well. But the harder it is to on-ramp U.S. dollars into crypto, the worse it is for prices. Morgan Stanley said in a recent note that the industry relies on ever-increasing inflows to support prices out of fiat and into the crypto ecosystem. And the bank anticipates inflows into digital assets to continue to slow in the months ahead.
All right, let's turn back to crypto markets for our main story. Bitcoin continues to inch higher after posting its third positive month in a row, even with the backdrop of a U.S. banking crisis and regulatory crackdown. So what's next for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? Crypto World's Talia Kaplan spoke with Invest Diva CEO Kiana Danial to find out.
You're definitely bullish on crypto. I mean, you wrote a book about crypto investing after all. And now crypto prices have been rising despite all the news that surfaced in recent weeks, including the CFTC's lawsuit against Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume, and the closure of crypto-friendly banks, Signature and Silvergate. In fact, Bitcoin has been trading around $28,000 and crossed that level for the first time in 9 months. During the same weekend, it was announced that UBS agreed to buy Credit Suisse for more than $3 billion. Can you break down what's going on here? Is Bitcoin rising because investors are perhaps rediscovering the cryptocurrency's appeal as an alternative banking system? Is that part of it?
So it could be, but I really do think that crypto assets are very, very cyclical and follow a very similar pattern. They have been following a similar pattern since crypto became a thing. And one of the patterns I've noticed, and again, you can go and find your own patterns, is that, crypto just goes up. It becomes a hype. It becomes a frenzy. People buy it. It bubbles up, and then it drops to low that is actually higher than the previous, what we call crypto winter. So we were in a crypto winter in the past year or two. And the funny thing about this is the first edition of my Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies book came out in the previous winter when nobody was talking about crypto, everybody was scared of it, and we're just entering the bull market. And this kind of feels like kind of similar pattern, not because of my book, but it's like the timeline and the pattern, if you look at the chart, is very similar. Now, the news and what's happening with the banks and what Binance is going through, Ethereum is going through, the banking collapses and the recession and the government and the politics, they enhance things. But I do believe that they're more micro. When you zoom out, when you look at all the 10 years, 12 years, 13 years worth of data of Bitcoin price action, you'll see this pattern of going up, new high, going down, new bottom above the previous bottom. And if this pattern is about to do it again, then I would say, yes, we're probably going to see another bull run. I don't know when it's going to start. Maybe it started now. Maybe it hasn't started because it's going to be actually consolidating around 28,000. And then once the new bull run starts, it is likely, history rhymes, right? It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. It is likely we're going to see a new bull run going above the previous bull run, the previous high, and then coming and crashing down again.
I looked through your book, Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies, second edition, and in chapter 9, identifying top performing cryptocurrencies, you bring up an interesting analogy where you compare all the cryptocurrencies out there to all the options available on dating apps. It made me laugh, by the way. So given all these choices, which coins are you currently invested in and why?
So that I love that analogy so much. Actually, I've forgotten about that, but it makes so much sense. Do you know why? Because investing is personal. Like the partner that you choose to go on a date with on Tinder may not be the right partner for me, but may be the perfect partner for you based on your goals, what you want. Like, why are you going in? Are you going in because you need cash now? Which I would recommend not to invest. Basically, there's so many different ways that you can make instant cash. Investing in the crypto market is not one of them because that would literally turn it into gambling. But that could be your reason. So you want to be very clear about that. And that is how you could go and find assets that may have like real, you may find them, you might get lucky. It is higher risk, but you might get lucky and find someone who will give you instant gratification, but then somebody want to get married. Like I treat my investments at Invest Diva, we look at our assets. If it's crypto, if it's stocks, whatever it is that is where we're buying, we actually look for marriage. Literally, you would say your vows to an asset that you invest in and be prepared to be with it along the ride. Crypto is a very new sector. The pioneers in any sector, if you look through the history, are the ones who have all the arrows in their backs. So that's what makes it very risky. And that's why you need to go into your marriage with this crypto assets with complete knowing.
In addition to what you're investing in, you mentioned Bitcoin is something that you're looking at, but what do you think investors are looking at right now and what are they avoiding? What do you think changed compared to last year?
So one thing that is great about the crypto market right now is that I feel like we're going to the next phase of startups and people are more educated in general. Like when I was writing my first edition of this book, people didn't even know what blockchain meant. It was more of, a catchy thing that everybody would throw and like, oh, I'm in blockchain. Oh, I'm in crypto. People are becoming more educated, even like normal people that are not investors per se. And because they've seen all of these ups and downs, I feel like they're going in with more understanding of why they're going in. And then we have the crypto crowd. And I feel like even in them, before we had like fans, oh my God, Dogecoin, no, Ethereum, no, we're going to fight. And I feel like we're coming together a little bit more as a category instead of like taking sides and like battling each other and really understanding like what is in the best interest of the whole industry at large. And I think this is a good thing. Now, there are economists who, like Ray Dalio, I listen to him a lot, and he's like, this is like the infancy. And he believes that we don't even have the cryptocurrency that is going to be the cryptocurrency, but they are optimistic on the category as a whole. And as an investor, again, our job is to find the asset, right? And finding means researching. Finding doesn't mean, oh, Kiana Danial said go buy Bitcoin. No, it's not that. Like, go and really read about it and see, does this actually make sense to you?
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, so we'll see you then.